5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Well, good morning, everybody. How are you all doing? It's Monday, the 16th of January. It's been nearly 48 hours since we beat City 2-1 in the derby in one of the... Wow, what a game that was. What a win that was. I wouldn't say it was... No, stop. I'm not going to try and focus on any negatives. Jeez, what a weekend it's been. Not only United beating City 2-1 there, Liverpool getting trounced 3-0 by Brighton. Arsenal convincing winners against Spurs in the Premier League. But it begs the question, which I will actually put down here as a poll straight away in the video. I didn't think... You know me, right? You know me right now. Well, you know me. You should know me by now anyway. I'm quite a moderate United fan. I try not to get dragged into hyperbole too much. Over-exaggerating a negative sense or a positive sense. Sometimes I do, I have to admit. But I want to ask you the question now, right? And it's a very simple yes or no question. Are Manchester United in a title? Are Manchester United considered? Should Manchester United be considered title contenders? Yes or no answer. I'm going to leave that poll up for the entirety of this video, and we're going to come back to it to the end of it. At the end of it, and I want to know what you think. But good morning to all of you. It's going to be a big show today. It's going to be one of the biggest and best shows of the season so far. We're going to run through the 2-1 win over City. We're going to run through individual performances. We're going to run through full reaction. I've got a cracking video to get that reaction started as well. Then we're going to take a look to the week coming up with Crystal Palace on Wednesday and with Arsenal on Sunday. It really, really is a defining week for United. And if now, my opinion here, get it out of the way straight away. You're damn right that Manchester United are title contenders right now. We're 1 point behind Manchester City. As it stands on Monday, the 16th of January, Manchester United are considered title contenders. Whether or not we're in a race, I suppose we'll know by the end of the week. But look, who's down there in the comments? Daisy, I could see you there. How you doing? Got Rory Lewis. Good morning to you, Tyler, Robert, Nigel, Julie, James. Some of the mods, we've got Orr. I can see that, buddy. And I can see there Josh and T, Al Williams, Ricky Thompson, Paula, Mika, Ian, Eddie Dempsey on Facebook with Stephen, Lawrence, Debbie, Donald. It's going to be a busy old show. I'm looking forward to it. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. I hope you enjoy the community. But yeah, this was a special game. It was a special game there. And you know what it is with United, and maybe not so much the fans, but I suppose the fans as well. The goalposts kind of keep getting moved, don't they? Blah, blah, blah. All the form before the World Cup. It doesn't really matter. See what you can do after the World Cup. You come back from the World Cup and then you beat Bournemouth. Oh, it's only Bournemouth. What was it? Forest? Was it Forest first? I think it was Forest first. You beat Forest. Doesn't really matter. Go and do it away. You beat Wolves. Doesn't matter. Go and do it against Bournemouth. You do it against Bournemouth. Doesn't really matter. Go and do it against City. You go and beat City, the current Premier League champions, and still there's some people that are saying that you can't entertain the conversation. And shit me, man. Trust me. Never in my wildest dreams did I think this morning that I would be putting a title of this on this video and that we could genuinely have a conversation about Manchester United being in contention. Because the race is on, right? We know full well that a 9-point lead means... We lost an 8-point lead, I believe, with 3 games to go that year with City, where we lost it on goal difference. I think I'm right in saying that. But I'm going to have a conversation about the full game, reaction to individual performances, and I'm going to answer as many of your questions down here in the comments. But I think we've got a couple of dons down here in the comments, and we do indeed. Gungshi, you're down there gifting 10 memberships, man. What an absolute don. R2 Boozy, you've got one. Radu, Andrew, Sahil, Stephen, Philip, Robin, Chrisadi, and Keith. You are, well, you've been given some. I think there's another one down there, but it's not actually popped up. Jay, I think you might have gifted some memberships. Why is that name not coming up? Jay, wow. Jeez. Jay has dropped in with the 50. Man. Jay's dropped in with a 50. That's why you should subscribe. Man, the community here, and the community is building and building and building because of the work. You can just see his head down there. There he is. There's Eric. Jay with 50, man. Thank you so much. I can't read all the names out. Otherwise, we won't be doing anything else this entire show apart from reading names. But that kid there, we're having a conversation about him My word. My word. But Jay, thank you, man. And thank United. And thank Erik ten Hag. You saw my match reaction. I was a little bit excited. I'll be completely honest. A bit like Jay dropping 50. Mate, Jay, dude. Absolute dude. But hasn't he just got you believing, man? It's a good comment there from Andy saying, Sam, I'm actually enjoying all the anti-United pundits getting smacked in their faces, man. There's so many people keep sending me videos of what Danny Murphy said at the start of the season. I think Gabby Bonlahor as well. TalkSport asked me to come on again last week, and I told them to, well, I didn't tell them to piss off, but I just said, look, I'm not interested in going in TalkSport. It's a pile of garbage. They thrive off the negativity, and they thrive off just putting a pin out of a grenade, throwing it out somewhere, and just creating a storm with no real intention of having a conversation around it, so they can just get fucked. Jay, you absolute dude, man. Thank you very, very much. But wow. And I didn't actually drink this weekend. I'm doing dry January, and I'll tell you what, Saturday was a very, very hard day to stay sober. But just what this dude is doing. Rafael, you're talking about, mate, of course, if that had happened against us, I would be absolutely livid. But it didn't. It happened for us. And it's just the way it goes. We've had loads of shit decisions against us so far this season. We know we have. It just swings. So there's no point getting... This is what I tend to do when it comes to those big decisions. I'm sure I've been infuriated here at some point, multiple points this season about decisions against us. But it swings. That's what happens, man. You get good ones sometimes, you get bad ones another time. And I mean, as I said, I'd be furious if that was given against us. I'd be furious, but it was given for us. And mate, what a smart bit of play from Bruno and Rashford. And just as I said, like going back to Eric, what I mean about the goalposts being moved. You know, as I said, we had all that good form. We've won every game we've played since November. We've now lost 1 in 19 games in all competitions. And inside that, we've beaten Spurs. We've beaten Man City. Man City were kept to 1 shot on target. In the game before, they had no shots on target. Erik ten Hag talked about the era's coming to an end, and we're seeing that. Maybe we're not seeing them. Let's not go as far as that. City, still, in my opinion, are probably favourites for the title, as much as Arsenal are 9 points clear. As I said, if United can lose a title with a few games to go with 8 points as a difference, I think it was 8 points. Either way, we had a decent lead in that. I don't want to think about that. But Ten Hag has just got me believing again. And if we take a look at the Premier League table, right? Arsenal currently 9 points ahead of Manchester United. We are now 1 point behind Man City. Newcastle there, getting a nosebleed. Don't know what they're doing up there. And Tottenham, wow, I tell you what. Do you watch the game yesterday? I knew that Tottenham were bad, but they are garbage. They are absolutely garbage. That's what I think. I was hoping that Spurs could nick some sort of result, and it didn't. It wasn't even slightly close. No chance that Arsenal looked very good, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that the only reason that Arsenal won that game was because Spurs were terrible. Arsenal were good, and they are playing like a team that is currently top of the Premier League. But remember, they've lost 1 game this season, and who was that to? It's to United, and we're going to be previewing this. It's such a big week coming up. This is going to be a really, really good show. There are so many important talking points. Make sure you drop a like on the video. But look, this is what Erik ten Hag said after the game. He said, look, we can achieve something in this season. I'm convinced, but it's still a long way to go to restore Manchester United. We approach it game by game. And I know full well that that is the absolute correct mindset to have. Erik ten Hag isn't popping into Carrington this morning and goes, right, lads, we're in a title race then. Not at all. It doesn't mean that we can't, as a fan base, have a conversation about it, because we are. In my opinion, let me see what you're saying in the poll so far. Let me pull up the results of that. Let's have a look. How do you get the results of the poll? Can't get them on your phone? Well, I can't see them on my phone. Let me put them up here. See how many people have voted so far. Right, so we've got 1,000 votes so far, and 65% of you are saying that Manchester United should be considered title contenders. I'm going to let that go out through the entire show, and right at the end, we're going to finish the poll and see how we're getting on. But 65% of you so far, you feel like we are. And in my opinion, we are. Right? As I said, right now, let me get this table up. Right now, on Monday, the 16th of January at 10:12 a.m., Manchester United are title contenders. We'll know quite a lot by the end of this week, because if results go our way, right, next Monday when we're having this conversation, we'll be 3 points behind Arsenal, albeit with a game, we've played one more game than them, yes. But we'll be 3 points behind Arsenal if we can beat Palace and we can beat Arsenal this week. Two very, very tough games, by the way. Selhurst Park, never an easy game. They lost 1-0 to Chelsea, and they've been kind of having an up and down season. But let's focus on the reaction to the game itself before we move on. Look at Manchester United's form. Look at this. Man United at Old Trafford. The last 10 games, 10 wins. 26 goals scored, 4 goals conceded with 7 clean sheets. Now, again, there's going to be detractors in here going, oh, yeah, well done, lads. Yeah, you've beat Bournemouth, you've beaten Forest. Like, blah, 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 blah. I can't be asked to listen to that just hot air, and it's just a pointless conversation. Because inside that, we've beaten Spurs as well. We've beaten Man City as well. We've beaten the teams that have come to Old Trafford in these last 10 games. I'd absolutely rather do this, Keith. I'd rather just kind of stay under the radar. And I think United have been staying under the radar until that City win. Now that we've beaten City, we're not under the radar anymore. We've just beaten the current Premier League champions. And we did it by coming from behind to beat them at Old Trafford. It's what do you think is a harder game for Manchester United? Is it Man City at home? In the current context of this season, is it Man City at home? Or is it Arsenal away? Just type it in the comments, and I'll see which one comes up the most. My opinion, it's City at home. Arsenal away is tough. Yeah, it is tough. But Arsenal, we've had great results. We tend to have a much better results against. It doesn't matter what's going on in Arsenal's season, like that season where Rashford scored 2 against Arsenal after he scored 2 against Midtjylland. I think Arsenal were riding high, and I think they were top of the Premier League when they came to Old Trafford at that point. And we beat them. They came flying early this season. We beat them. We always seem to have Arsenal's number at Old Trafford. At the Emirates, it's a different kettle of fish, and there's no doubting that this Arsenal team are flying. What a week we've got coming up. What a week we've got coming up. Already, you're saying Arsenal away. Neil, you think we're going to do Arsenal away. Oh, you think it's Arsenal away. City at home. Alex, how you doing? You're saying you're the Gunners. Arsenal away. Arsenal away. City at home. Ooh, I would personally say City at home. That's a personal opinion, but there's no doubting that both of them are difficult games. Can I quickly say, before we dive into the full reaction to the derby, look at this for a weekend from Manchester United as an overall football club. Our under-18s came from behind to beat Blackburn 3-2 with the last-minute winner. Under-21s came from behind to beat Liverpool 2-1. I think Hugo got both of the goals with a 78th minute winner. The first team came from behind against City at Old Trafford to win 2-1 with an 82nd minute winner from Marcus Rashford. And the women's team beat Liverpool 6-0 and are currently flying high in the Women's Super League. Hell of a weekend for Manchester United in every single level of the club. Absolutely fantastic. Like if Carlsberg could do weekends for Manchester United, it would probably be that one. So absolutely fantastic. Congratulations to every single team, the under-18s, under-21s, the first team, and the women's team. It's just good to see United doing it there. But let's talk about the game and let's talk about individuals. And what I want to do here is, if you want to see my reaction to the match, go back and watch my match reaction. But I think there are a few players who I didn't really talk about enough from the game. So what I'm going to do for the next 10, 15 minutes, I'm going to speak about some individuals who I don't think I really mentioned enough during my match reaction. And for me, the first one has to be Luke Shaw. Bruno Fernandes went on Instagram. Luke Shaw was posting about the match. This is what Bruno Fernandes says. Because what a centre-back I'm guessing he means we have signed. What a centre-back we have signed. Is this the transfer window? Luke Shaw, man. Wow. Luke Shaw plays centre-back. What is it? I think, was it away at Wolves? Was that the first time he did it? And then Bournemouth at home? I think that was the 2 games that he did it. And everyone's like, well, yeah, okay, right. Yeah, do it against, go on then, do it against City. 1 shot on target. I think that's one of the lowest ever totals for a Pep team in the Premier League. And Eric Ten Hag did that with Harry Maguire sat on the bench, with Victor Lindelof sat on the bench. And with Lisandro Martinez, look, if Lisandro Martinez was 100% fit, Lisandro Martinez would have started that game. But Luke Shaw started that game because he isn't clearly just quite fit enough to be starting the game. But Luke Shaw, man, absolutely incredible performance. But you can see his poster on the wall there. And I don't really think I gave enough credit to just how impressive that cameo was from Alejandro Garnacho. And I did not realize that he's got 5 assists. 5 assists already this season. That really sort of surprised me. And look at this for a stat as well. Garnacho had more touches in Manchester City's box than any other Manchester United player in that game. And he came on in the 72nd minute. Staggering performance. Staggering for an 18-year-old who, what was it? 8 months ago, something like that. 8-9 months ago was winning the FA Youth Cup at Old Trafford. And there on Saturday, he's playing in the Manchester derby and completely impacting the result of the game and getting the assist for the winner. It was a spectacular performance from Alejandro Garnacho, who really is showing just what a good crop of youngsters. Well, he's the cream of the crop. Kobbie Mainoo is clearly another one that we're going to be seeing break through across the course of this season. But Alejandro Garnacho, man, what do you think about his performance in the comments? I'll read out a few of your comments on him. Liam, nice. Let me know where you're watching from, dude. I'll try and give you a shout out if I can see you down there. Let me see you. Dudley, you're saying that Garnacho is a star boy. You called me out as drinking last week when I said we were going to win. Well, we hadn't beaten City at that point, Kieran, right? The goalposts are continuing to move and the conversations continuing to move on. I think last week was a little bit premature. Some might argue that this week is still way premature because it's January. Now, I'm not saying that we're Premier League favourites, but without doubt, Manchester United currently, as of today, are in a race. Whether we can follow, because that's what I mean. The conversation is changing. Had we not beaten City, this season would have effectively just been about a top 4, like solidifying that top 4 position and building on it for next season and maybe pushing for the title next year. But because we beat City and we've beaten Liverpool and we've beaten Arsenal and we've beaten Spurs at Old Trafford, the conversation's moved forward now. And everything is up for grabs this season. Garnacho needs to be starting games, says Stephen. Well, you're really going to knock Rashford out of position on the left? We'll have a little conversation about Martial a little bit later in the show. Not signing his Gakpo is the best thing for now. Maybe it would be. Maybe it works out that way. It was telling that the minute that Garnacho came on, Walker and Akanji were doubling up on him. Mate, he did. He had everybody shook down there. It was a fantastic cameo from, as I said, somebody who's 18 years old. Chris, he's saying it's amazing how some of the players whom we thought were done came back in a totally different player. Kudos to Ten Hag and his coaching team. And there are none more than this man here. Now, I did a little video that went out on TikTok. If you follow me on TikTok, you would have seen that yesterday. I might even do a full video on it today. I absolutely wrote Wan-Bissaka off. And I think if you followed me on United People's TV long enough, you know full well that I've done this before. That I dig myself out. I remember what I say about players, and I try not to. I wouldn't say I'm flip-flopping on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. For the life of me, I thought from a stylistic point of view, from a profile point of view, that Wan-Bissaka would just never fit inside this Ten Hag system, this Ten Hag style. It's not his natural instinct. But he showed different instincts in that game against Wan-Bissaka. That's what I would say. Some really good one-touch football. I mean, the footwork was outrageous. It really was. It was amazing. But it was the instinct he was showing. It was the one-touches. It was the quick moving. It was the quick passing. It was the desire to bring the ball forward quite aggressively. And yeah, I did not think this dude had it in him. But fair play to Wan-Bissaka. And I honestly, man, I'll go back to it here. This man, if he can get Wan-Bissaka playing like that, I mean, what else can he do? We've all been saying that Diogo Dalot's improvement this season is probably the most impressive under Erik ten Hag. You could easily argue that what we've seen here is even more of an impressive turnaround for Wan-Bissaka. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And going back to individuals that we need to speak about from during that game, I'm annoyed at myself that I didn't give it more of a focus. Because I called it before the game as well. Fred was in my predicted starting 11, and I explained exactly why Fred was in my predicted starting 11 with Bruno out on the right wing. It's exactly what Ten Hag did. And it was exactly the reason why we absolutely nullified City in that first half. It's no, there's going to be people that are saying, oh, this is United. We shouldn't be setting our team up to try and stop others. Yeah, cool. When we reach that point where we're the fucking best team, then that's how we'll play. But when we're playing against the best team who we've just been chasing their coattails, just been getting pumped by them for years, then we have to have a game plan to maybe try and squeeze the space and hit on the counter. It's exactly what United did in that first half. And Fred was absolutely monumental. When it comes to the aggressive front press, nobody's better than Fred. Nobody has a bigger energy reserve than Fred. Relentless midfield play from him. And the reason it really works with Fred and Casemiro is because Casemiro will never leave that gap in behind. He'll know that Fred's gone somewhere else and he'll make sure he covers that space. Like the fullbacks go forward and Casemiro will make sure that he knows he's got to cover that fullback going forward. And it blended well. It worked perfectly. And Fred was absolutely monumental. And I think I said at the start of the season, I said, if I'm looking at Fred, I'm looking at McTominay. And I said, stop calling it McFred. Speak about them individually. Because I think Fred, from an individual perspective, Ten Hag clearly really likes him. And from a cameo perspective, Fred had come off the bench in the few games before that City game and was impressive every single time. And he started there against De Bruyne. And that double tackle that he did on De Bruyne, chasing him down like Herrera on Hazard, you know, with the Jaws music, just stalking around the pitch. That's kind of what Fred did to De Bruyne. And it really set the tone. And had our finishing been better in the first half, we would have gone into half-time winning. And look, there's another comment there down there, which is a very, very good point to speak about. Not that lad. That lad. Malacia. This is what I mean. There's so many individuals. You could have, probably to a man, spoken about each player that played in that derby on Saturday and praised them. And Malacia, I was worried about it, I'll be honest. Him up against Mahrez. I thought that was going to be a bit of a weak point for United. I thought City would have tried to expose it that much. But in that first half, we were so disciplined. The shape was great. We were never allowing too much space for City at any point. And they couldn't find the passes to break through, could they? So they kept passing it backwards. And it was, yeah, Stephen, you're right down there. It's almost like we've got a squad. It's almost like we're not just relying on an individual to have a cracking game. But Malacia, well done. Look at that. We played with Malacia and then Shaw as our left-sided partnership. And it worked against City. Against City. It was just, I'll tell you what I want to do. I forgot I made this video, but I'm glad I've saved it to now. Watch this. These videos have been floating around on social media. This is a quick minute of some fantastic reaction videos from the game itself. You'll enjoy this. I'm not sure which one's my favourite. I think it's probably Casemiro effectively kind of accidentally putting 2 kids in a headlock. Man, that guy's wild. You seen the video of him trying to come because when he was on the sidelines trying to come back on, he was like slapping the hands away from the physio, saying, "Just let me get on, let me get on." Man, that guy, man, just everything about this team, That video there, absolutely top class. Make sure you drop a like on this video, just for that one. I think it deserves it. But I saw a stat that came, as I said, we have spoken there about Malacia, Fred, Garnacho, Wan-Bissaka. Look at this for a stat about Marcus Rashford. 27 of Marcus Rashford's 67 Premier League goals have been the winning goal of the game. The highest percentage of any player with more than 50 goals in the competition's history. 40% of all the goals that Rashford has scored in the Premier League have been the winner. That stat there, that really is one of the most impressive stats I've heard about Rashford, or just any United player this season. 40% of the goals he's scored in Premier Leagues, ever in the Premier League, have been the winner in a game. And he is just, he's setting, I've told you, like this isn't Rashford being back to his best, man. This is Rashford setting a new best. This is Rashford taking his levels to a place where they have never been before. I think that's 9 consecutive goals. 9 consecutive goals he scored in 9 consecutive games at Old Trafford. And we spoke about this on the podcast. And I'll tell you what, we're recording a podcast tonight. You definitely want to be following the podcast because it's going to be an absolutely fantastic show. But Rashford, man. Rashford deserves a lot of credit for this. As much as I want to sort of, and I will, praise Erik ten Hag for like helping bring this version of Rashford out, this is down to Rashford and his hard graft and hard work and determination to get to this point. Well done, Marcus. Ray, super chat from you, dude. What are you saying? If we get 9 points this week, 9 points, we're only playing twice. That would be impressive if we get 9 points. If we get 6 points this week, well, there is something cooking. We've got to beat Palace now because I think United we will get top 4. Well, from this position, right? And there might be some United fans that were probably disappointed at the fact that Arsenal didn't lose to Spurs. I was one of them, of course. We wanted Arsenal to lose to Spurs. But what that did do was really solidify United's position inside that top 4. We've now got a game in hand on Spurs. If we beat Palace, which is our game in hand, we've got an 8-point buffer inside that top 4 at the halfway point of the season. And that's madness, isn't it? It's the 16th of Jan. We're not even halfway through this season. World Cup has just caused an absolute craziness. Let me see what you're saying down here about Rashford in the comments. Benny McCarthy. Yep, let's give some praise to Benny McCarthy. He's definitely had an impact. Casemiro. Oh, man, Casemiro. Every single game. Honestly, I could do a video every single week about Casemiro. Every week. I don't think I'd tire of talking about how impressive Casemiro is on a game-by-game basis. But certainly, especially in that game management towards the last 10 minutes of that game, we needed him. Remember that it was Ten Hag was about to bring on, I believe it was Martinez and McTominay. I think Casemiro was going to come off, and then United scored that win. He's like, sod that, you're staying on. But look, I did my video yesterday on just this transformation at Man United. And like just, as I said, remember where we were 12 months ago. Remember where we were. It was an abomination. Solskjaer had been sacked. We had Ragnick, and it was just, from a footballing perspective, it was the worst 3-4 months you're ever going to remember as a United fan. It was bleak. It was bleak. And yeah, the only word I'm going to use down there is dreaming. And sometimes your dreams don't happen. Of course they don't. But it doesn't mean that we can't have a conversation about it. I don't think Ten Hag will be having that conversation. As I said, is it that one there? He's already said that, look, we can achieve something this season. But we're going to approach it game by game. But as a fan base, we are dreaming about what's coming next. And that's what we need to talk about now. What is coming next? Because we have got a big, big week coming up. Actually, quick shout out to this celebration at the weekend. Danny Welbeck scoring the third against Liverpool and giving it to Rashford. Hello, sir. I salute you. Fantastic to see Danny Welbeck doing that. And look, yeah, David, that's it, man. It is nice just to be optimistic, man. It is nice to be optimistic. And there's a comment there. It is nice to feel like Old Trafford is a place where a team doesn't want to come right now. Is that the one there? Nope. This one. 10 games at Old Trafford. The last 10 games, we've got 10 wins with 7 clean sheets. Old Trafford isn't a fortress. Not yet. It hasn't seen a Premier League trophy get lifted there in 10 years. It's not a fortress. But it's not a place where teams like, I don't know, just any team can come to Old Trafford expecting a nice, easy win. And yeah, big up Danny Welbeck for doing that. Or what you're saying, Casemiro in the Palace game is 1 yellow away from a suspension. I didn't know that, but he absolutely will start that game. Even if he's 1 yellow away from a suspension, there's no reason to leave Casemiro out of such an important game. And if Casemiro knows that he's 1 yellow away from a suspension, he'll play like that. In the same way that Casemiro can be on yellow for like 75 minutes of a game and not get sent off. He should just be smart in that game. Jebak, you're saying Arsenal are pissing me off. Imagine Ten Hag one-upping Klopp and Pep and losing out to Arteta. I know they're a settled team, but this doesn't sit right. Jebak, you want to make me... I'll make you feel slightly better here. This is something that I realized a couple of weeks ago when a mate told me about it. Because I've been kind of the same as you. I've been kind of pissed off at how good Arsenal are doing. Like, you finally overcome Liverpool and City, and Arteta's there, like, piss off. But if Arsenal win the league, you know what that means? City aren't doing 3 in a row. No one's ever done 3 in a row in the Premier League, apart from United, twice. So pretty much anything apart from Liverpool winning the league, which is not going to happen this year, it's better than City getting 3. And as soon as someone told me that, I was like, oh, okay, right. I feel not slightly better, but slightly less offended at the idea that Arsenal might win the league. And if they win the league, then they deserve to win the league. Any team that wins the league obviously deserves to win the league. But let's focus now on the week we've got coming ahead, man. I'd rather Man United win the league, all right? As it stands, and as I said, I'm more than happy to say this. More than happy to say this. That United currently now, we are Premier League title contenders. We are 1 point behind Man City. So if you're going to try and say that City are title contenders, then here you go. United are title contenders. Whether or not we take that step up, that's up to us. So I suppose this right now, this is the position that we got to, not physically or literally because we were first, under Solskjaer, where we went top of the league and then we didn't know what to do. It feels different this time. It feels, as I said, 1 loss in 19 games in all competitions since we lost 6-3. I think so. It's the momentum is just building and building and building and building, and it has to continue building this week. And we've got Palace and we have got Arsenal. And I tell you what else we've got. We've got a new number 27. Wout Weghorst obviously was confirmed at the weekend. Oh, no, it wasn't the weekend. Was it Friday? It was confirmed Friday night. Then we had Derby on Saturday. He trained with the team yesterday for the first time, and he is wearing the number 27. Now, you'll remember who else wore the number 27. That will be a certain Marouane Fellaini. Now, as I said, he trained with the first team yesterday, and I think there's a real argument to be had about whether or not he's going to go into that starting 11 straight away. If he's fit, I think Erik ten Hag could consider it. And that's because of this lad. Anthony Martial, in my opinion, wasn't fit. You can let me know in the comments, actually. If he said it, I might have missed it. Ten Hag saying whether or not Anthony Martial was actually injured and he just played him because he didn't really have any alternatives. I mean, he could have played Rashford through the middle and Garnacho on the left, and that may have been a smarter thing to do. But Martial started and he was just off. He was just off again. He's not really been completely on it in these last 4 games. I know that Martial went off at half-time. I just don't know whether it was whether he said it was to do with injury or not. But Martial's just not been cutting it as our number 9 enough, right? And that's why it really is just the perfect time here to bring Wout Weghorst in. It's such a... This is what a good January transfer signing can do. At this point in the season, we've got a big hole at number 9 in terms of the goals that they're bringing. Martial's movement, yes, I know it's been quite important to us, but we need goals from our number 9. Rashford, we're heavily reliant on Rashford right now, and he's delivering, absolutely delivering. But we know full well, we've been saying it all season long, and we've reached the same point again. It's not a surprise here. It's not a surprise here that we're talking about Martial's lack of fitness. That his potential is there, but it's the same conversation time after time after time after time with Martial. And it's not a reactionary thing. It's just like, oh, fucking hell, we're here again. And we are here again. But in Weghorst, Erik ten Hag has managed to bring someone in who fits the profile of the striker that he wants. Not I mean, he's not going to be playing with a 6'6" striker, but we're hoping that Weghorst can have a similar sort of impact at United to what Haller did at Ajax when Ten Hag brought him in. A bit unorthodox for an Ajax coach to bring in a big target man like Sebastian Haller, and they went on to have, I think, their best ever Champions League group stage. He scored an absolute bucket load of goals. I'm just looking forward to seeing Weghorst play. And if we're looking at Crystal Palace away on Wednesday and we're looking at the fitness there of Anthony Martial, I personally would be surprised to see him start that game. Now, we'll find out during the course of this week whether or not he will. Okay, we'll find out whether or not he is completely fit to play. And if he is, maybe he will start. But I'll see what you're saying down here in the comments. Martial always plays well. Matthias, I think Martial's forgiven a little bit from United fans. I don't think, I feel like some people consider it taboo to criticize Martial. And yeah, if he wasn't 100% fit, it's kind of unfair to criticize. But, you know, when a player's in the starting 11, as fans, you have to presume that player is fit and capable of delivering what he can and should be able to do in a game. So if he doesn't do it, you're allowed to criticize it. And if a manager's put that player, as I said, if he wasn't completely fit, maybe he shouldn't have started. Martial is still getting that match sharpness after his last injury. It's been more than a few games. It has been more than a few games. Come on, man. Martial was fantastic in preseason. Martial, Sancho, and Rashford, those three together, we were dead excited about seeing what could happen this year. What else are we saying down here? Martial will always frustrate, get rid. Have you been practicing his name? I'm just going to stick with Vout. I can get Vout right. I think I'm right. Mayank, you think disagree with Martial makes more different? I don't think he does. Right now, I don't think he's not. Currently, he's not doing that. Okay, and that's not an exaggeration to say. And if you're going to try and get offended by that, then cool. That is my opinion, and I stand by it. I'm not saying Manchester United are a better team without Anthony Martial, but I'm very much looking forward to seeing what a fully fit number 9 adds into this team, because that's not something that we have had. Have we had that all season? I'm not sure. Ronaldo, he missed preseason. He was so lacking fitness in the majority of the games he played. There were certain games we played with a fully fit number 9, but we went into that derby at the weekend against City without a fully fit number 9 in our squad. Rashford's not a number 9. We played Elanga up front the other game. Weghorst is going to come in now, and he's going to be a fully fit number 9. Somebody who can aggressively press from the front. It's going to be interesting to see how much of a difference he can make. And I'm excited for it. And maybe Palace away is the perfect time to bring him in. So as I said, I think if he is going to be completely fit, I wouldn't be surprised to see Weghorst in that starting 11 with Rashford on the left probably. And, well, we can have a discussion about Anthony. We can have a discussion about Garnacho. There's so many different things to discuss. Brian bringing him on for the big headers up front. Get Luke Shaw back at left back. Whip some in. Shaw into Weghorst. You know that cat meme of the cat doing a little kick in the snow? That's exactly what you're thinking about with Luke Shaw. But, yeah, we need goals, man. We need a number 9 who's contributing some goals, as good as movement is. I mean, look, that's what United are doing right now. We're getting goals from everywhere. We are. Bruno Fernandes popped up with such an important goal. And hell, what a surprise. Who could possibly have predicted that Bruno Fernandes would be an influential player for United in a derby? Love that bloke. Really do, man. He is the embodiment of this resurgent United. From ever since he came into the club, his standards have been higher than what the club has been playing. And now the standards are starting to come up to that level. And that's why Ten Hag likes him so much. Ten Hag sees a lot of himself in Bruno Fernandes and sort of having a little mini version of himself on the pitch and the drive and the energy and the tempo that he sets. Bruno Fernandes, man. Bruno Fernandes. But yeah, let's go back. There he is there. There he is there. The celebrations there were absolutely wild, weren't they? The celebrations were... That's probably... I wouldn't say probably. That is definitely the best atmosphere there's been at Old Trafford. There's certainly this season and in a long, long time. I was lucky enough to be there for the Liverpool game, and I thought that was loud. Even before the game kicked off against City, it was loud. And you saw it in the video that 1 minute video I had there of Casemiro celebrating with the two kids, of Varane geeing up the crowd, of Rashford celebrating down there and Varane going crazy. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. Alex, is that really a myth? Is that a thing that people say? I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, as I said, I've always found it really, really odd. Last 5-10 minutes of the show, I want to open up to the floor. I'm going to answer your questions. I'm going to head to the poll in a second, see what the results are. Any questions you want to fire them in. I'll try and answer as many as I possibly can. Hemja, you're asking about Jadon Sancho. There is no update on Sancho just yet. Again, Ten Hag's just keeping him in the shadows. With United right now, we've got 1 loss in 19 games. We don't need to rush Sancho back. We'll bring him back when it's right for him. Because it might be 2-3 weeks later than maybe Ten Hag would want. But if he does that, and he then brings Sancho back into a team that's just storming it, that's the perfect situation for Sancho to come back in. And that's where he'll start shining. Darren, I'm excited about Weghorst. He was a beast in Germany. We'll put a picture of him up. Put him in a good team like Holland. Now Man United. And watch him produce. I said it in my reaction to in the video I released on Friday night. Ten Hag actually spoke about him. Let me pull this quote up. I think this is a really important quote on Weghorst. He said this. He said, I think about as surprised at every club where he has been, except at Burnley. I've been following him for a long time, all through his career. I've known him since he was 16 years old. And everywhere he has been, he has surprised. I think that's a really good quote from Ten Hag. First of all, showing that it's not just a knee-jerk reaction. As I said, people are trying to put United signing Weghorst into the same category as United signing Ighalo under Solskjaer. And it's so far removed. That was a signing that wasn't part of any sort of strategy, that wasn't linked to any sort of real genuine style of football. It was a case of, we need a striker. Who? Ighalo. Yeah, go on and bring him in. That's how we signed Ighalo, I would imagine. But Weghorst, he's been signed. If there's a 10 boxes saying this is Ten Hag's style of playing, you got to tick all these boxes to be the perfect profile. Weghorst ticked a lot of those boxes in terms of the press, in terms of the attitude, in terms of the goals that he can bring. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it. Sam, you're saying realistically, United could potentially win how many competitions? We've been speaking about it on the pod. Matt was the first one to start speaking about a domestic treble. Not domestic treble, a cup treble. But if we beat Barcelona in it, what is it, for a couple 3 weeks? I think the first 3-4 weeks, the first leg, something like that. If we beat Barcelona, we've got to consider ourselves one of the favourites for the Europa. We are in a League Cup semi-final against Nottingham Forest. If we beat that, it's going to be Newcastle or Southampton. We've got to consider ourselves favourites for that. We're in the FA Cup 4th round against Reading. I think City are playing Arsenal in the next round. We've got to consider ourselves contenders. I think the Cups are where our success will come this season, but there's absolutely no way that you can rule out the fact that Manchester United, as it stands, are contenders in this race. Whether or not we build on that depends on this week, right? So where is that? Here we go. This is what we've got coming up. Crystal Palace away on Wednesday evening. The game that's been sandwiched in between our fixtures against City at home and Arsenal away because it was delayed, right? And it's never an easy game. Selhurst Park is never an easy place to play and win a game of football. We've had some cracking. It still stands as one of my favourite away days when we won 3-2 there under Mourinho, when Matic scored the absolute banger. Away-in went absolutely crazy. And I love away-ins. I love away days. Need to start doing some. Unfortunately, I've been so busy with the community that we've got here that I can't get myself to games at this moment in time. But I will definitely, once I've reached a certain point and I can bring in some people to work alongside me, then I'll definitely get to a few more games. Sigmund, you managed to get yourself a ticket. Well, I think because of the lateness of that game being called, I think there was quite a few tickets on the go. But here we go. We've got Palace on Wednesday, and then we've got Arsenal on Sunday. I'll take a look at the poll results. Let's have a look here. 2,000. That's the biggest poll we've ever had here. We've got over 2,500 votes, and there's only 600 likes on the video. So there's over 3,000 you watching now. Big up, man. Big up to everyone who's just enjoying watching United at this moment in time. Absolutely, just fucking enjoy it. Whether it ends in United just winning the League Cup this season, it doesn't really matter, right? The future is genuinely bright, right? We've got new owners coming in. I've done so many videos on that, and I will cover because the next month is critical. We're going to start really hearing the bidders coming forward in terms of understanding who really is interested in Manchester United. But going over here, taking a look at this, 2,700 votes, and 62% of you right now, you think that Manchester United should be considered title contenders. I'm going to end the poll there, but look at that. I think you're completely correct. And I think it would be, in my opinion, pretty disingenuous to suggest otherwise. Right now, we absolutely are. Whether we build on that, I think we'll find out a lot this week, won't we? We will absolutely find out a lot this week. Palace away. What would you say is a minimum amount of points required from these two games to consider whether or not we're contenders? Jonathan, you go down there and you say we're not title contenders. I think you're just taking a completely pessimistic point of view because you know what our estimations were this season. But right now, where we are title contenders. Whether you want to say there's obviously going to be quite a few fans who don't necessarily want to verbalize that because let's not get stung. But we're in the race, man. Right now, we are in the race. Whether we can turn that into a genuine ability to fight for it will very much depend, I think, on what happens this week. Let me see what you're saying. 6, no less. Six down there. 6 points in the bag. 4 praying for 6. Man, lots of you down there. You're all going for 6. Lousy, you're going for 9, but obviously we're playing Nottingham Forest in the cup. That's maybe confusing a little bit. Let me just get Nottingham Forest off it and just leave it on those two. DV Soren is saying I'm curious as to what approach United will take to Arsenal. That's a good question. I suppose we'll cover that in the a starting 11 video that goes out later this week, but we can't do that until we get past Palace first. 666. I mean, lots and lots of you down here. 666. Jonathan, you're going for 4. Ant, you're going for 4. Thomas, you're going for 4. Jeez. I don't know, man. I don't know. My gut is telling me that I want 6 from this week. I don't think it's greedy to want 6, but this is our game. It's not our game in hand, but we have an opportunity here, which won't be there at any other point this season. Arsenal are 9 points clear of us currently, but we play Palace away before we go to the Etihad, before we go to the Emirates. If we win that game, we go there on 41 points, and then we know full well that if we can beat Arsenal at the Emirates, we only go 3 points behind them, and they've still got to play plenty of teams this season. Let's have a look at who are Arsenal's fixtures. I think they play City soon, don't they? Arsenal fixtures. I think they've got some tough games coming up. Let's have a look. Let's pull this up on screen. Right. This is Arsenal's fixtures. Oh, they play City twice in 4. Jeez, look at that. They play us on Sunday. Then they play City 5 days later in the League Cup. Everton away. Well, Everton are put. Hopefully that by that point, they would have sacked Lampard and get the old new manager bounce. Yes, come on, baby. Brentford at home. Shame it's not Brentford away. But then they play City. I think they play City twice. Hey, man, I'm letting myself dream. I'm letting myself dream. Stuart, that's pretty much where I am. One game at a time. I'm not here saying that we're going to win the Premier League. But I tell you what, the more wins that we keep building and building and building on top of each other, the more I'm going to start letting myself think, you know what? This team might be able to do it. This season is not a season that anybody expected. Where's Liverpool? I can't even see Liverpool. How far down have you got to go? They're not even on here. Oh, no, still can't see him. Oh, still can't see him. Oh, there they are. Sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. I'm not going to apologise for that. Gee, look at that. You're embarrassments. Liverpool playing Chelsea soon. Look at that. The mid-table off. Good luck down there. But let's go back up to the actual top of the table. Just let yourself dream, and let's see if this team can deliver. Because I tell you what, this man's delivered. This man's absolutely delivered, right? Ten Hag has delivered, and he's restored this belief in United fans. I'm not sure what my video today will be on. I might do a full apology video on Wan-Bissaka. I think the lad deserves it. I mean, I've criticised him enough. I always do that. If I wouldn't say I've been a dick. I think my criticism was pretty fair of Wan-Bissaka. But if he's proving me wrong, then I'm going to be the one to call myself out. I won't let other people call me out. I'll call myself out first. In the same way that if Maguire turns it around, I'll call myself out plenty. And just don't think he will. Mate, this is absolutely wild, by the way. What are they doing signing Mudryk for like 100 million euros? Honestly, Todd Bowley is literally, the transfer policy is, what's he doing? What? Who are Arsenal? Yeah, go on in. We'll go and sign him. They're mad. 8.5-year deal, because that allows you to spread the cost of that player over 8.5 years worth of accounts. That's the only way they're getting rid of around FFP. But man, Chelsea are doing some crazy stuff. The shiniest head was on the red side, man. It's just 1-1-1. Ben, I wish that was a true quote, but I'm pretty sure that was a meme. Either way, I laughed at it. I absolutely did laugh at it. Jermaine Pennant on TalkSport. No, I'm not wasting my ear. As if you'd waste your oxygen listening to that. Mate, Todd Bowley, honestly, is making Ed Woodward look smart. I think they've spent like 500 million since he took over in the summer. And let me just reiterate where Chelsea are in the league. There we go. 10th. Fucking 10th. And Liverpool, do you know how sweet this is, by the way? Do you remember how much stick Liverpool fans gave United after losing to Brighton and Brentford? Their last two losses in the Premier League have been to Brighton and Brentford, and both Brighton and Brentford are above them in the Premier League. There's a question down there saying, Sam, please drop your TikTok. Hey, look, I'll do this. Ladies and gents, if you don't follow me on TikTok, I appreciate if you don't like the platform. That's your prerogative. But short form content is something that I really am trying to sort of invest in and trying to bring a new audience to United People's TV. So if you can, follow us on TikTok. YouTube Shorts, I'll be cranking up and doing more of them soon. But that is the link to the account there. But what a weekend. What a morning stream this was. Jay, thank you so much for gifting 50 memberships. Gungshi, thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships as well. It's what a brilliant season we're having. Nobody could have predicted. We're the only English team left in 4 competitions. And honestly, there's people that are saying, Sam, what is the point, man? Why? Just stop talking about United being in a title race.
We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway.
Yes, we are, Barry. Yes, we are. We are going to do it anyway. We're going to let ourselves dream. We will probably end up being disappointed this season. But I'm not disappointed about what's coming next. Ten Hag's our manager. New owners are coming in. We've got 1 loss in 19 games in all competitions. We're currently 4th in the league. Oh, sorry, that's Liverpool and Chelsea down there. We're currently 4th in the league. And let's see what goes on this week. If Man United can come through these games against Crystal Palace and Arsenal with the right results, then belief is really, really going to be there. But big up to every single one of you. Make sure, look, if you are new, there's going to be lots and lots of you that are new here today, because there's so many people joining in. We've still got over 3,000 watching. Please, would you subscribe to United People's TV? I'd love to have you as part of the community. I'm here at 10 a.m. every single morning, Monday to Friday. Genuinely interactive. I try to read as much of your comments out as possible. But to end the show, let's go back to this bad boy. Let's enjoy the reaction to the derby, and I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.